Tell me about growing up in Sheffield.
Growing up in Sheffield. Well, it was okay, really, in retrospect, I guess, I can't really remember any sort of really terrible times, most of the time it was pretty good, really, as a kid growing up. And then I think the worst thing for me was when I moved, but then...
Where did you move to?
Yeah, we moved out to Burn Cross, which was Chapeltown, which is outside, like a suburb of Sheffield, quite a way out. And I was really upset about that because I was kind of all my mates and familiar surroundings and everything like that. But actually, it turned out to be actually a better thing, in the end, because it was, it kind of, I don't know, it just seemed to open more things up to me, I guess, So the parents were right in their decision, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What age were you at this point?
Must have been early 70s. It must have been in very early 70s.
So near when you started going to Meatwhistle?
Main school, yeah. When I started main school, yeah. Must have been about 11 or 12, I guess, something like that.
Yeah. So
I've still got a mate who lives around there, Andy Rogers, who is like probably the oldest mate I have. I see him. He lives in London now. He's
Where are you living now?
Me, I live in Southend, just outside Southend, at Westcliff.
Oh, I know Westcliff. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I performed at Westcliff. Not so long ago.
Really?
Yeah, I did I think I did a. Or did I? It was a talk. Maybe I did.
Right.
Yeah, it was a talk. It was to do with this art project or something. But I know a few people in Westcliff actually. It's kind of like an artistic enclave.
Yeah. And Rayleigh, I think is it Leon's here as well.
Leon's, that's right.
That's really nice up there. Yeah, it's a little bit further on. It's quite a nice area, nice houses and stuff.
Westcliff is quite easy to get into London, isn't it? It's
yeah. I drive to London quite a lot. It takes me about an hour and 10, 15 minutes or something like that.
Cool. We've got to meet in the flesh when we're allowed to.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely right.
I'm in my studio now in King's Cross, so it's
King's Cross. Yeah. Wow.
And it's beautiful. You'd love it. I've got all the old synths here. Look, I've got a thing. Look.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on you posted a picture,
and
that's one of the original
700S.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
It's not the original one. I had to buy one, but and the Jupiter 4.
Right. Excellent. Is that was that the original Korg there, the Roland system?
Yeah. The story's been told on another podcast, but basically, obviously, you used to have to. We were not well off, so I ended up selling a load of synths. So we had nowhere to store them anyway. Selling the new ones, right? Which I regret now, obviously. And then I was working with Vince Clarke in producing one of his albums, and I got a knock on the door at Christmas, and they were all a bunch of boxes, and it was the System 100, in boxes, not the original one, but one he'd found in America, and gave it to me for Christmas. How about that? It's fucking crazy, eh? And so he's responsible for my kind of eternal love of analog synths. And do you know what? It's still the best sounding synth. I was always jealous of your little suitcase synth.
Yeah, they were okay though. It was good.
Have you got one still?
I've still got it. Yeah. I've been using it. I've used it a bit. I use it from time to time, but the EMS is great. I worked on a big one of the 100 systems in San Francisco with Jack Dangers. He's got one of the only, I think there's about 10 of them that are actually in the world that are actually working. And
really?
Yeah, he's got one of them. I mean, it's that huge system, the huge system with the something like 100 by 100 patch.
Yeah.
and the oscilloscope built in.
Oh, I love all that shit.
Everything, it's got the whole thing. And we used it on an album we did together. It was really good. Amazing device. Absolutely amazing.
How many albums have you done since we worked together, I wonder?
I couldn't say off top of my head.
Roughly.
Hard to say. I mean, because the vinyl on demand box sets have been coming out. So there's it's like 5 in one box, 5 in another, then it's
4
in another, that's 14 albums.
I know we've done exactly.
And then, there's all the albums I did, for DVA and all the TAG material, and I've just sort of released some new things. So,
what are you currently working on?
At the very moment now, I've just finished this 2-hour-long mix we're doing for a project called Beach Stretch 9, which is organised by a friend of mine in America. It was originally a piece by a guy, I forget his name, Leith, and it was like stretching Beethoven.
Yeah.
Piece was like for hours, for
hours. I love that.
Yeah. So he invited a lot of sort of different composers, myself, Michael von Hauswolf, Michael Esposito, John Duncan, and quite. I mean, they're like around about 12 composers, and gave us a piece, which we were to sort of develop and work on.
Brilliant.
For a 2-hour piece, and then this is all going to be streamed in a kind of month's time, I think, or something like this. And I think there's going to be a recording of some kind. I'm not sure exactly what. Yeah. But it's been quite a challenge really to work on a piece of that length, you know what I mean? Because, I do long pieces, but 2 hours is a very long time, I think, you know what I mean, for an actual piece. For me, anyway,
Yeah, I mean, with the...
to keep up the interest level as well, and the texture and it changing, and, keeping your attention and how it flows and comes back, and how it sort of engages you, sort of, You
see, I feel a little bit. I have a different kind of thought about that stuff. I think, and it's based on. I went to see Parsifal, but invited by a friend of mine who was singing bass at the Royal Opera House, and I love Wagner anyway. So I went there, and it was during the day. It was the final dress rehearsal, and I sat down there, and the first half hour was it's just the intro of everybody's on stage, but nobody's moving, right? For the first half hour, and I'm going, what the fuck's going on here? And it's like, and the music is just moving so slowly, and just slowly drifting, chords emerging. It was like the slowest wake up ever. It was almost like lucid dreaming, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going, can I stand this? I mean, I was sat in the middle of a row. I thought, if I get home now, I'm going to look like a right twat. So I thought, I'd better brave it out, And, after a bit, I just got into it and just relinquished control.
Sure.
It lasted 5.5 fucking hours, the performance. I didn't know in advance. He didn't tell.
Yeah.
And I kind of, once I stopped worrying about the time, I just got into it. So, and in terms of composing, I've got this 3D sound company, Illustrious, I told you about.
And
a lot of the installations we do are either looping hour long.
Sure.
That's quite common for us.
Yeah.
But 2 hours isn't that much of a stretch.
Yeah.
And I think, so basically, the what I'm saying is if you relinquish your control,
sure,
and don't worry so much about whether you maintain interest for people.
Yeah.
If it pleases you, that's all you can do.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, keeping my interest, you know what I mean?
Yes.
If I'm finding myself, God, this is boring, it is, you know what I mean? For myself, of course, I never compose for anybody apart from myself, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a mistake in a way to try and do that. I mean, you can do it. Of course, it can be done. But for me, personally, yeah. So, it was a little bit of a challenge because, working and having to do the whole thing, mix it through in real time as well,
Oh, right, yeah.
Controllers and everything and the volumes and because at certain points, frequencies that collide and you rise in levels and trying to keep on top of it. So it was just sort of gradually moving from, I wasn't working on every day, but, we're doing it bit by bit, taking a bit of a break. We've been doing it for like 3 months.
Right.
So it's not been full on, but, the last couple of weeks, it's been a bit more intense because I'm having to finalise it for the deadlines. So,
Oh, right. Listen, we all need deadlines, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So I mixed it down yesterday. So that's
good. I did I curated a project in Mexico City where I was asked to curate this project and engage 12 different artists to do 2-hour pieces each, based on the sounds of Mexico City. So there were people like Fenners and who you probably know, and a lot of Mexican artists, and Marianne Amache, who was one of the original donessas of kind of that kind of abstract assemblage stuff, and we had all sorts of exciting stuff. And imagine putting that together in 3D on a 38.10 system. That's what we had to do. God, it nearly killed me. I was working on it for like 6 months. Yeah. So let's talk about Meatwhistle.
Sure.
Tell me how you got involved. How did you find out about it?
Well, it was through Glenn, really. Back Glenn at college, when I was at college, and we just sort of started being friends and so on. And he mentioned Meatwhistle and said, "Come down," and that was it, really. I came down on Glenn's invitation, really, and just went into the spirit of it, really. I guess.
If ever any individual embodied the spirit of Meatwhistle, it's you. Definitely. Yeah. You are like the living, kind of God in Asgard of Meatwhistle. I will never forget till the day I die. Magnificent piece of work like Waiting for Hago.
Yeah.
And so some of those titles just did my head in. There was another one, something about. Oh, go on, tell us some. You must remember some of them.
I remember the All Night Cafeteria. I remember that.
All Night Cafeteria.
Some cafe in Berlin or something.
Yeah. We were living out our fantasies, basically, weren't we?
Yeah, it was like it was sort of like experimenting, really, wasn't it? With stuff,
Hago. Yeah. Mr. Haig. We need to explain. Mr. A was a dummy, right?
Yeah, right.
And he was dressed in different outfits according to his purpose. And this one was, if I remember rightly, was a kind of dirty Mac, wasn't it, or something?
That could have been, could have been.
Yeah. And what about we're going to come on to the future and all our work that we did together, and the Dead Daughters and all that. It's fucking amazing. More I think about it. But before that, were there any musical things that we didn't do together that you were involved in at Meatwhistle?
Not. We did those sort of cabaret things, didn't we?
Lister Greg and Red.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, Lister Greg and Red.
Well, we need to just mention that another alter ego.
Yeah, it was like a kind of Crosby, Stills and Nash sort of. Ooh,
Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young, Gifted and Black. Yeah.
Kind of vocal sort of
vocal harmony.
Yeah.
But we've had close harmony groups. This is more like distant harmony groups.
Yeah.
Distant harmony. That's good.
Obscene twist,
And some of the titles of the songs were Sore and Red. If I remember right.
Yeah, it was very, it was satirical. A lot of stuff was kind of out there, satirical sort of.
if it didn't make us laugh,
yeah, that was.
I mean, we were very, and I credit you with this, the massive influence of Dadaism,
Dada,
absurdism, the whole Ubu Ruas thing came from you. I don't, and I think Marshy as well to a certain extent, but mainly you. And I thank you for that because you informed the rest of my life, really.
Cool. I mean, I was into all that sort of stuff before I came into the Meatwhistle. I'd been sort of looking at all this sort of stuff, reading about the theatre and the absurd and Beckett and Jerry and all this kind of stuff. So it kind of, it kind of inspired me as well. The Beckett, obviously the waiting for the Hago, waiting for Godot. Rhinesco, the rhinoceros, and so on.
And Metamorphosis and
all these kind of all this kind of stuff was really kind of buzzing around in my mind at that time. And Dada as well, because I sort of discovered Dada in the library. Actually, I was just looking through the library books in the City Library. I was thinking how sad it is. They were saying they sold that now. Some of the Graves Gallery in Sheffield.
Oh, it's terrible.
Turn it into
the Sheffield Children's Library. I lived there when I was a kid.
Chinese companies are going to change into a hotel or something.
Oh.
I remember how brilliant a resource that was. You could go in, you could spend hours in there, go in the gallery. There's a cafe upstairs. You could see Warhols. You could see, British 60s pop. All kinds of stuff. The 20th century modern art. And then downstairs, you've got a big library, and it had a great, had a lot of good art books in there. And then you had the reference library, brilliant records. You could
borrow records.
Yes, records like John Cage. You could go in there and borrow a John Cage, or something like Zacchanis or some electronic sort of stuff.
Yeah, we were heavily into that stuff. I mean, you and I, and just about everybody I know, went to Rare and Racy.
Yeah, right.
And Sheffield, and they had a kind of avant-garde section.
Yeah.
Remember, I listened to Xenakis.
Yeah, Xenakis.
When I was like 16, I'm going, oh, how else would it? People don't realise there was no internet. You couldn't just pick up your computer and research something. This was all like hidden treasures to me. Right. You had the same attitude, I think. And anyway. We got on really well from the outset, didn't we? And we were really good. The fact that Meatwhistle attracted a load of kind of mavericks, really, different types. Yeah, it all just felt right, And I treasure those years. And I don't know if you a member of the Facebook group, the Meatwhistle group. But
I have been on. I have posted
some interesting stuff on there.
Comments. Yeah. I've got some photographs somewhere I found actually a while ago. Well, probably a couple of years ago now, before I moved, and I've put them away somewhere. I can't get to them because I've got a lot of stuff in storage at the moment. So a lot of stuff sort of stored away. But there were some photographs. I think there were me, you, and Glenn who went out taking photographs like UFOs.
We were throwing like frisbees and stuff.
We had a skeleton.
I'd forgotten about
that.
So, my God.
It's some great photographs, like white ones.
It's like really obscure, like blurred photos.
Yeah, like a kind of disc in mid like this sort of little skeleton figure,
Happy days.
It was just sort of fun, like a fun sort of thing we did. I don't know, just sort of out of the blue, kind of,
I think the thing is we
enjoyed it.
We've all done quite well in our own ways in our careers. We've kept on doing good artistic work. Some of it has been more successful than others. Artistically, good. And but I often think to myself, what's missing from a lot of the stuff that I've done in the later part of my life? It's just that sense of fun, and I think or playfulness, I suppose you'd call it in the art world. And I really think that's a precious commodity. And I have to constantly adjust my rudder to keep on the track of not taking myself too seriously. But having said that, there's always a sense of naughtiness in a lot of the stuff, and I'm sure there is with your stuff as well. I've been seeing it.
Yes, there's an absurd sort of presence in that stuff,
Yeah.
To some degree.
Let's have a look at your influences. I'm saying your influences, but so many of our influences are common. But I just want to hear it, out your mouth, really. Who, at that time, we talked about the theatrical and literary influences, but things like all the stuff coming out in New York was important, wasn't it? And Germany, and tell me about how that influenced you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we were in the 70s by the time, we were at Meatwhistle and so on, the kind of pop music had sort of, got to this point where, it wasn't so interesting anymore. Boy was still, relevant and so on, and Kraftwerk and the German sort of side of music was there, because I remember we used to listen to stuff in Meatwhistle quite a lot,
That's right.
Florian album, Autobahn was a one we played a lot.
It's true.
Another sort of German music as well, So I think
Canon, Neu, and
all this, Faust, all these kind of groups that were doing something original, really, and new, electronic.
Amandul,
yeah, sure. Rodelius,
yeah,
Mobius,
Schultz.
And obviously worked with them as well. And we were big fans of Eno. Well,
Massive
music, massive, really, a great influence on everybody. On the whole, bunch of us.
I'm hoping to get him on this podcast. Actually,
yeah.
I'm in discussions with him at the moment. He's really busy, but he's going to do it in May, I think.
Brilliant.
Which will be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And check this out, Tony Visconti.
Wow.
I'd have to do a day-long discussion with him. I think out of my top 10 favourite records, he's probably produced 5 of them at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Electric Warrior alone, you could do an entire episode on that.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And Diamond Dogs,
Sure. Low. Did you do
Low changed my life. I've talked about this in another podcast. I remember us sat in the workshop.
That was a big influence for us, isn't it?
I remember tuning in to John Peel, so I'm going to play the entire album beginning to end. Yeah. You've not heard anything like this. Yeah. Just focus. And we sat there with the medium wave radio on, before FM, I think, and we just sat there and went. I think it was at that moment I thought, maybe, just maybe, I want to do this.
Wow.
This inspired me that much, and I think we all felt a certain amount.
Yeah, it was a big, big album in terms of the power it had to influence, and sort of, inspire, as well. Definitely, absolutely.
And I'm jumping about the timeline a little bit here, but I know that we all owe a big debt to the Cabaret Voltaire, I think, because they were good friends. They were all like mentors, weren't they, to us?
Yeah. They were a bit older than we.
Yeah. How old are you?
Me, I'm 63 now.
It says a different date on your on the Wikipedia. It says like you weren't born in 52, were you?
No, 58.
Somebody's been fucking around with your Wikipedia.
Yeah. I'll have to go and
change that, mate. I thought you're about the same age as me.
Yeah, 63.
Yeah, you're a little bit younger than me. So Low and Iggy Pop, of course, the whole New York thing as well. Lou Reed. Andy Warhol was a massive influence on it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, big influence on me visually and sort of conceptually. Definitely. Yeah, He was probably one of the kind of first influences on me, because really, that before I got into music and everything, and I am a visual artist anyway.
Yeah.
Sort of, I've never gone away from that. Or always had that there, and I've always been doing stuff in the back, or on albums, or
yeah, of course,
video films, etc. But painting in itself, I was really into painting, and so kind of Warhol, and my father, Deschamps.
It's all right. It's on message for the podcast. It sounds like a synth. It's fine.
I get a lot of calls. People try and phone you and sell you things.
I know exactly. I've had an idea.
Yeah, Warhol definitely was a really big influence for me. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. When I was at just before I left school, I got really into his stuff, and I was really influenced by it, and started doing a lot of silk screen work.
Yeah,
repeated pattern images and stuff, and I was building and painting my own silk screens, and screening them out and doing the whole process. So I'm into the craft of it as well. I did like painting, I work a lot. I'm just doing a lot of acrylic works more,
right.
Pieces, canvases, portrait, a lot of figurative stuff, some abstracted figurative stuff.
Right. Were you involved in designing gun rubber by any chance?
A little bit on the covers, yeah.
Because they look like that collagey thing that.
Yeah, I think I did the first two or something like that. The ones I was involved in, before I sort of gave it up to Paul. Yeah. I was just on the two issues. I think we'd started doing some music stuff at that time, and I think like the new wave, sort of because punk had really sort of come and gone, and it was like a fashion, and so there was a more interesting sort of new wave coming through, with like the Throbbing Gristle, United, and the Normal, Daniel Miller, TVOD, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Cat stuff, and so on. And so I think you kind of just before then, perhaps we started doing stuff. I think we sort of like the gun rubber was primarily like a punk kind of and after the first two issues, I felt that it burned itself out. I kind of wanted to sort of go into something more different, sort of more like the the ideas, the subversive ideas that were coming from say like from Throbbing Gristle and stuff like this.
So when did you become friends with Throbbing Gristle?
Must have been when I was doing the formative kind of period, when I was kind of trying and experimenting with music and stuff, and I got in touch with them and by letter at that time, and they wrote back, and then we
carry a pigeon.
Yeah. We had a lot of communications back and forth and stuff. And then, I went to see Jen at some point in London. I went round to the house where they had the headquarters there and stuff. Met Jen, spent some time with them and stuff. Met everybody else. I mean, at that point in time, everybody was really friendly. I mean, they were very friendly and very open and very supportive, and I liked that. They had a do-it-yourself attitude. It was very punk in that sense, It was like Meatwhistle as well, where we do things, regardless of the resource we had. We'd use whatever we had, And the gun, for instance, that was a perfect example of that. We used those old Gestetner machines,
right?
Duplicate,
Yeah, of course.
Piping these templates up. duplicated note and then photocopying images, for the covers, because we couldn't produce images, we could only do line joins. So it was a perfect example of kind of using resource and getting up and doing something you'd never done before, like a fanzine, a magazine or whatever, and doing the whole thing, distributing it, printing it, selling it, taking it out, doing interviews. So, but that methodology, that constructivism, I'd say, was very much a part of Meatwhistle, and also, it was also replicated in such things as Robin Russell's industrial record.
And we were kind of influenced by the whole factory records thing.
Factory records and the Warhol ethos of the factory again in New York, that kind of idea of artist participation and people doing stuff, art being manufactured, etc., etc. So I think the whole, that whole idea appealed to me very much. So, so
and me, I have to.
I mean, to all of us, in Meatwhistle, it was like a kind of, Meatwhistle was like a kind of a resource really for us.
That's right.
More in the sense of us coming together rather than the material resource. You know what I mean? Because he never had a lot of money because the council was too tight, money.
Hey, but we had a building though, right?
Yeah, we had a building, which was probably the main thing in a way.
Yeah.
The space and the people, the interest, the motivation, you know what I mean? The self-motivation.
And a kind of protection from criticism of the outside world. And my children are now 23, 25, and I've seen them grow up through the kind of narcissistic internet age where everybody's paranoid about exposing their process to anybody else in case they get exposed or embarrassed. And we didn't have that. There was nobody we were insulated from any form of embarrassment because everybody was as daft as everybody else. But listen, I've got an idea for you. We need to discuss this when we meet eventually, maybe in King's Cross. I did an interview. In fact, it's out today with John Fox, who's a husband. I like him very much, Dennis, and he was saying he's very similar to you in the sense that he started out being an artist, and he actually took a hiatus from the music industry to become a graphic designer for years.
Right.
And he went back to the music industry. Right. So there's that thing going on. And I thought there are some similarities there. And I said to him, and he's a big photographer and a visual artist and blah, blah, blah. I said to him, look, we should do an exhibition together, because I do a lot of soundscape work in immersive sound for exhibitions all over. I've done stuff in every.
Yeah, I ran it
in London. Yeah, and we should do something. So you should have a retrospective of your work, because really you've got like me 40 years worth of depth.
Yeah,
that people rarely they glimpse elements of it through different lenses, but it's never been fully documented. Well, you fully documented it, but it's never been exhibited. To my knowledge, have you ever had a kind of exhibition? I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, no, I've been asked to do a book, on my artwork recently, the last couple of years ago, from a couple of companies who produce sort of big hardback editions and stuff. They do the French company.
Maybe we could do a group. Maybe we could do a group exhibition with you, John Fox, and maybe or somebody from the Cabs.
Yeah. I mean,
it's interesting, isn't it? It's a northern thing.
To show actual full size.
Yeah. And sound and film. You've got lots of kind of
multimedia in a way.
Yeah, 8mm. You've got lots of 8mm and 15 stuff.
Definitely.
People, the next generation, need to see this shit.
Sure, definitely.
Anyway, let's talk about it later.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. Right, let's move on.
What? Step in the scope, But we should be doing that. That's what
we need to. We need to document this shit, don't we?
And especially now, at this age and the time, we should be really doing these kind of things.
Before the
documenting, getting stuff out.
Exactly. That's why I'm doing this podcast. To be honest, I think people's stories need to be told because we're so busy. We're from Sheffield, right? We are makers. That's what we are. We're from Sheffield. We are makers.
Yeah.
And so we are of the. It's in our DNA. We can't help it. We do stuff.
Yeah.
And we rationalize it afterwards. Yeah. That's the way I view it, and I think it's a healthy way to be. But the corollary of that is if you're doing it well and you're getting a kind of continuum, you don't really take stock that often, And I think now we're of an age where we have the tools to do it, the digital tools. We have the contacts. And I think people would find it fascinating. It's maybe something like the Design Museum or something like that. Or maybe one of the museums in Sheffield. Maybe I don't know. Is there any left? Millennium Gallery.
Yeah.
That's a positive. I've done some exhibitions in there. So has Chris Watson, actually. He did one there as well.
It's really it's finding someone who can curate, who's got the interest to curate these things.
I'd happily curate it.
Yeah, no, but, the actual museum themselves, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see. I'm good at that stuff. It's my world, the museum world. Don't worry. I go to their fucking award ceremonies.
Yeah.
That's what we need. I know all these people.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I am. I can't announce this, can I? No, it's under wraps. Anyway, I'm about to be get some kind of recognition from the University of Sheffield. Oh, yeah. They also have kind of exhibition spaces and the Octagon, stuff like that. There are places where that maybe they could facilitate. Let's talk about it later. Okay, next question is: are you a shaman? You feel like you're a shaman?
No, I don't. I would not say, but maybe in some aspect, perhaps. You
feel like you're an interpreter of a different.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you sort of define the role of shaman. You know what I mean? I guess in terms of sort of creating magic.
Tell us about your connection with that world. The world of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really like a kind of interested party. Really, I don't really follow any particular thing in that sense. I'm not a member of any cults.
Oh, boo!
I never was. I'm kind of see myself as an individual. Do you know what I mean? I'm definitely me. That's it. I'm kind of not interested in following two.
Me neither.
Things. I've always sort of, the only thing I ever really kind of appealed to me was like sort of Japanese philosophies like Zazen, and people, philosophers from those areas, There's a particular one, I can't remember his name offhand. This is the problem of getting older. But they were saying about an open mind, having an open mind, and saying, the expert mind is closed, because it only sees that particular thing, I mean, it's always to keep this openness, about things,
Yeah, it's good.
Decontrolling, giving things the decontrol rather than trying to suppress it all the time, and I think that kind of attitude, the idea, it is real, it works, you know what I mean? So, that's kind of how I kind of follow things, in an open-minded way.
Yeah. So did you not have maybe, I don't know where I read it, that you were interested in, well, I know for a fact from the time we spent together that we've always been interested in kind of ritual.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I mean, it started early, I guess. My interest in that kind of stuff was like when I was younger, reading and a lot of this sort of archaeological, sort of mythological things. Yeah, I remember, I've got loads and loads of books I've picked up over the years. The mysteries of Atlantis or whatever, all these kind of, strange things in time, and all this sort of,
Do you remember when
science fiction-y,
yeah,
kind of science, projected futuristic science, past mythologies, mysteries, etc. And I was really kind of, fascinated with that stuff when I was young. So it kind of, it's just sort of like an interest I've had for years and years and years, So like ritualization is part of that,
Yeah, of course. Do you remember when we when we decided that we should form a cult? Do you remember that? No? Oh, wait, you definitely did this. We said, oh, yeah, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Let's see where that goes. Then let's form a cult. And we're going, what can we form it around? What's the central premise? And I said, I tell you what's always interests me. There was fuck all happening round about the year 1000. You remember that? And we said, that's it. Let's make it, because we're coming up to the millennium.
Yeah.
It's going to be popular if we go like, well, actually, we've been a member of this cult forever. And we would actually, and we were going, we could make some rape money out of this. And I think the idea lasted for about 3 days, and we realised we probably bitten off more than we could chew. But it was a funny idea. Yeah. I think that was probably to do with the magic mushrooms. Remember when we used to go picking magic mushrooms up at Fox House? Oh, we had some fun with Judd, didn't we? Oh God! And Judd reckoned he used to talk to the sheep. And he always, and we were, don't be you daft bugger. What and he always used to come back with like 4 times as many plastic bags full of magic mushrooms as everybody else. God bless. Judd, just for people who don't know, Judd was an early collaborator with us. In fact, he played on one of the Future tracks.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he was a lovely lad. Unfortunately, he lost his life to some politics. Yeah. I was so sad. He was such a lovely guy.
Yeah, he was.
In honor of him, I shall dedicate Uptown Apocalypse to Judd, which was a great piece of bass.
Yeah, Uptown Apocalypse, yeah.
And so let's talk about the future. We need to get onto that, don't we?
Sure.
Hold on a second. Nobody ever phones me except when I'm doing these things. My wife, Yeah. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? So, yeah, the future. So, that was quite exciting, wasn't it? I mean, remember when did the amazing invite that I did when I was working at Lucas Industries, to the record companies, and we got these demo tapes made with that guy from Sheffield. They're doing
the documentary. I did a filmed interview piece for them. We sent it all. I don't know what's happened to it anymore.
It's coming out apparently.
Yeah, he came back to me and asked me to do a narrative on the beginning of it, but I was a bit concerned about what he'd wrote. You know what I mean? So I wasn't totally kind of into doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I sort of like passed on it. Right. I don't know what he's done with that, but I was a little bit.
Anyway, that recording session with whatever his name was meant to be in his front room. What was his name? Ken Patton.
Ken Patton. Yeah, that's it. And I totally forgot about it. And then
painful. And we said, "Take your studio." He says, "Well, we're just going to do it here." And so we had to put like the various things on the tape recorder on the coffee table, And it was all like chintzy, wasn't it, and everything.
Yeah, it was in the
tea and sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah, it was in Handsworth, like suburb.
Yeah, and you know, I love those tracks. I think
they're
an indication of. I mean, they were imperfect, obviously, but they were. You know, I remember thinking when we'd done them, I was thinking, "Fucking hell, this is like the fucking Beach Boys." Not quite, Martyn. No, it's slightly different. No, I did. I thought it was like an avant-garde version of the Beach Boys, soundscapey type stuff.
Yeah.
And the idea of working with 4 tracks at the time was something we could only dream of.
Yeah.
So there were certain parallels with, you know, when the Beatles started working with 4-track tape recorders. They thought it was amazing, and but what came out of that, and the Carlos cyclic and random lyrical organization system, and all that stuff, it kind of personally made me laugh, but it also had some kind of it resonated as well. What did you think about what we did with those demo tracks with the Future?
Yeah, I mean, we were too ahead of us time, I think. You know what I mean? They were definitely not ready for this kind of thing, you know?
Not sure anybody was ever going to be ready for it.
I don't know. I mean, you know, listen to it back now. I mean, it's not, you know, you've had the kind of benefit of all the other sort of music over the decades. It doesn't sound like unusual now. Do you know what I mean? In that sense. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, I guess, it was quite radical.
Yeah.
You know, to listen to music that was just purely electronic, you know, and so on.
But not only that, there was a lot of kind of found sound, tape manipulation kind of thing going on as well, which was our attempt to create narrative from the kind of raw materials that we had available to us at the time without conceptual restriction. Yeah. So, you know, this thing about, you know, Marshy going, "Oh, let's write a song about Son of Sam murders," you know. I'm going, all right, yeah, why not? And that's going to go straight into the top 10. And but the point being that we weren't afraid of anything in terms of creative terms. So there was nothing that was off limits to us.
Sure.
And our mutual love of things like J.G. Ballard, and literary references, and you know, this idea of creating a soundtrack to an imaginary film and literally painting that soundtrack in people's heads, was so much part of that period and kind of part of the whole kind of prog rock thing to a certain extent. It was like I saw it as a kind of modern version of, you know, like Van de Graaff Generator. Or...
Yeah. I mean, we were just experimenting, really. I think, you know, that was the thing. You know, because we were coming to it in a unstructured way, not like you say. You know, we didn't have any prerequisite conceptions. You know, so we were just really finding a way of making music, you know.
I mean, I'm proud of that shit. Are you proud of it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We just brought out this. Is it out yet? The vinyl of the Future. Aren't we bringing that out? I can't remember.
Yeah. The CD. There's going to be a CD. This is Frank's doing a box set of all the DVA VOD releases. One of those CDs.
Quality, is it?
Yeah. It's a collected 16 CD box set. It is.
Cool. How much?
Well, I'm no idea. I don't know. It's going to be in May, I think.
Is it going to be expensive? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what price he'll make it. I'm not sure. I'm sure he'll keep it a reasonable price because I think, you know, he likes people to buy things.
Yeah.
You know,
I love the. I mean, I followed your work from a distance over the years, but I love the conceptual art component of everything you do. I mean, the packaging of your stuff is just great, and the people you seem to attract round you understand your vibe completely.
Yeah.
But I just want to get on to, because I'm aware of time. Usually, as usual, these things fly by. You don't realise.
Yeah.
So, tell me about what you're most proud of in terms of ClockDVA, the anti group, and the current, all the stuff since then. I'm looking at your Wikipedia page, which now I know is completely inaccurate, by the way.
I have to look at that.
Yeah, because really, it's just like me. People like me look at these things and just have to assume that it's true. But you've had, apart from you had a hiatus between 95 and 2007. That's correct, right? You just
between 95, and yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Is that just because you lost inspiration, or you were in the wilderness?
No, well, I mean, I was living in Italy with my wife at that time, Jane, and
right.
we moved from Florence. We were living in Tuscany at a nice place outside of Florence.
Lovely.
It was excellent, yeah. And then with Contempo, ran into some problems, and then I moved over with another company, Audio Globe, still based in Florence, and started doing stuff. But then we had to move from Florence to Milan, and we were in a very tiny apartment, and we didn't really like Milan and stuff. And
I'm not keen. I'm not mad about Milan.
And then I was like, negotiating with a company in Milan and getting all the rights back from Contempo, because Contempo, I got into problems with taxation, like everybody in Italy.
Nobody wants to pay tax in Italy, do they?
Yeah. So it's a national sport.
Yeah.
So we moved back, to England, and so I thought we didn't move back to Sheffield. I thought I'd move back to Cornwall and spend some time with my folks down there. My mum and dad lived there, and so I moved back there and spent 20 odd years down there. And
Torquay, right? Was it Torquay?
No, I lived in Truro, and in Redruth.
Right, nice and lovely down.
Yeah, it is good down there. Yeah, Falmouth, all that, St Ives, all that.
I love it. I love all that.
Bottom part of Cornwall. That
bit remote though. That's the thing.
It is. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, definitely the cultural sort of thing. It's nowhere near what you
would
want.
So what inspired you to kind of regenerate it says here reactivate your career?
Yeah, I think I took some time out because I really wanted just to sort of, concentrate on being married and enjoy being married, and then, had a daughter together. So, Ray, who I'm really, really proud of.
How old is she now?
She's 24.
My daughter's 25, so.
Yeah, she's studying Japanese culture and language at Sheffield University.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Amazing, incredible. I think she's going to Japan this year to go to study. I'm hoping with this because we've had this bloody year of pandemics and everything's been, so.
Yeah.
But I think they're going this year now in October.
Right.
Stay over there for a year,
Brilliant.
And so it's like a dream for her, She started sort of her interest when she was about 4 or 5, getting into anime and watching cartoons. We used to watch the cartoons together and stuff. And then gradually she sort of like her interest developed, and she started, reading Japanese herself and then learning it.
Really?
She speaks it, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Are you close with your daughter then? Because I'm close.
Yeah. I mean, I go up to Sheffield to see her as much as I can, or she comes down here. Still really good friends with my ex-wife and everything. So.
Excellent.
Good relationship, so. That kind of time I took off was good in a way to reflect on what I'd been doing and what I did, and then what I wanted to do. And so around about it must have been about 2000, 7, 8, 9, something like this. I reactivated stuff to do more, because I kind of, I'd had enough. I wanted a break from the business.
It's a long time, isn't it? I mean, I can't believe I've been continuously employed in the music industry for 40 years. It seems like the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
It feels like a decade to me. I don't know what the fuck went on. I mean, I had children, of course, and I moved my studio into my home.
Yeah.
In the early, in the around about 1990.
Yeah.
I had my studio in my home for 20 years.
Yeah.
I had people traipsing through there, artists, and they were meeting the kids and all. And I'm going, what the fuck was that all about? And after a long while, I thought, I've got to this is ridiculous. I need to get my own studio and have some space, And so that's what's happened now. And I love my studio now.
I think it's quite good having another space because it kind of focuses you, and you go out to it and and when you're there, you do your work because that's what it's for. Do you know what I mean? Whereas at home, you can get sidetracked.
Oh, totally. So what are you most proud of your creative?
Ooh.
I know it's a tough question, but...
I think I've seen the TAG material from the 80s.
I was listening to some of that.
85, Lambasonic album, Digitaria. I think it's a great album because they get a big ensemble as well, a lot of musicians I was working with at that time. It's like about 10 of us or something like that. And they were all great guys, all really intelligent, individual musicians, and we had a great ensemble, and it was like the ego was like not there, you know what I mean? And we worked really well together, creating this album, and some other.
Sometimes that magic just happens, doesn't it? And
yeah. So that was a great album, which I was really proud of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What one thing that's fascinated me is whenever I see your name pops up and ClockDVA and TAGC and all that stuff, and it's often in conjunction with these interesting territories. You're really popular in a lot of different places, and I was going to ask, which territories are you most popular with? I suppose in.
What do you mean territories? Do you mean like
countries?
Countries.
Yeah.
Oh,
because it's like I know for us, it's like, very traditional. It's like Britain, America, a bit in Europe, and around the world. But, for you, there seems to be a natural thing about Eastern Europe or...
Yeah, there's a lot of interest. Yeah, I mean, in Eastern, obviously America and in Europe, Italy, France, Germany, Spain, Sweden, all those sort of countries.
And have you performed in a lot of these places?
Yeah, a lot of shows over the years in all those places. Yeah.
So what's your current live outfit? Do you have one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. I mean, we're like an international group. Really. I mean, Tez is a really good friend. He's Italian. He comes from South Italy, Salerno, down towards Naples.
Beautiful. I love the region.
Yeah. Beautiful place. So I spend a lot of time in Italy because we've got good friends there. So Tez is. But he's in Amsterdam. He's based in Amsterdam. He bought somewhere in Amsterdam 15 years ago. He's got a studio there. So I do a lot of work in Amsterdam.
Great. Love Amsterdam. Remember when we went to Amsterdam?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was the first time I think we went.
First time I'd been abroad, I think.
Yeah. I know. I remember.
We were sleeping in the park, right?
Yeah. Vondel Park.
And the sleep-ins, remember?
Yeah. It was an amazing. It was kind of like a culture shock, really, for us, wasn't it? You know what I mean? To go to these places and see a different kind of lifestyle that we kind of aspired to in a way. You know what I mean?
Well, definitely, I still aspire to it. To be honest, not the sleep-ins so much. Not people.
No.
Not people shooting up heroin on the bunk next.
No.
whilst listening to Blue Cheer, that's not my idea of fun.
Obviously, there's negative aspects of anything, but I think in general, Holland, Dutch people seem to be like a kind of progressive, open, kind of liberal, society. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. I think it was kind of an eye opener.
Oh, well, certainly the red light district was.
Oh,
frightened me to death.
Yeah, totally bizarre. I mean, when you see something like that for the first time when you're young, it's quite.
We were about 17 or something, weren't we? Round about that.
Yeah. Pretty radical.
And it was like, was not ready for this.
Yeah.
The ultraviolet light and the windows and and they were looking at us and going, why don't you come in here? I'm going, and A, no, and B, we haven't got any money. And even if I got money, to be honest, I'd have been scared stiff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think it was just part of the course of Amsterdam, isn't it?
I love that, though. I mean, that's one of my fondest memories.
Yeah. I mean, I've been going, like I say, to Amsterdam a lot because I could get a flight there from Southend. Well,
all right, yeah.
Was able to anyway.
Yeah.
To get a flight from Southend to Schiphol. Yeah, Schiphol, an hour.
Yeah.
20-minute taxi, and I was on and off. I like these smaller airports.
Me too.
Right, yeah. The smaller, the better for me.
London City is good because you can
on
the plane in like half an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to Heathrow, which is like the most boring walk through the worst shopping mall on earth.
Oh God, yeah. Well, Germany. I mean, what was it? Stuttgart. I think it's something like that. It's just gigantic. It's like a city.
Yeah. Badly organised.
Forever, different terminals and miles away from each other.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Europe's been pretty much a big area for me to work in, for sure. Absolutely, over the years, galleries, museums, festivals, single shows, etc. So there are a lot of interest.
And do you manage yourself? I mean, do you just feel?
There's an Italian friend of ours. He's a friend of Tez's, been a friend of Tez's since they were kids, and he takes care of all the logistics of travel.
Great. Well, you need that, don't you? Yeah.
And merchandise and all this. So he comes along, takes care of flights, hotels, and merchandise.
Yeah.
The sound checks, all this kind of thing. So he's on top. I mean, he's very good at it, and he's a good mate. We all get on. And then we've got another guy, Panos, who's based in Athens, and he works on the visual stuff. So there's me here in the UK, Panos in Athens, Tez in Amsterdam, and then Giancarlo in Italy. So we all have to sort of fly in.
You're so modern.
Yeah, do the stuff.
You're so modern. It's brilliant. Are you happy being called industrial music and cyberpunk?
Not really. No, I think it's a term which is sort of like being added on to things. People need to kind of tag things.
They used to call us new romantic, and we never.
Yeah, and stuff like this. I think it's I guess there was a point when there was an industrial kind of music, but I think it was only for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Evolved into other things,
Okay, here's the fun bit. It's like smash hits, right? We're going back to the playful area of pop. So I'm just going to have to ask you a series of your favourite things, and so, what's your favourite film? It can be one of your favourites. I'm not saying
favourite films. What one of the favourite films? That's a difficult one, isn't it, to do? Because there's so many great films. You know what I mean? Like one film you can really go back to and watch again and again. I think if I was going to choose, I'd choose a director. I'd say like someone like Kubrick. You can go back to a lot of his films again and again. And there's always something new in there. I mean, like a couple of years ago, I watched 2001 again. It was on TV like late night and a high definition version or something like this, and I watched it again and I thought, my God, this is such a...
That changed my life.
Yeah, it's such a radical, incredible piece of work that it's so immense, so it's totality in its modernism and in its futuristic and also in its mythical as well. You know what I mean? And the whole idea of the machine man sort of, symbiosis and the magic and the alien intelligence, the AI, it's all in there. Everything's in there.
Everything. I agree. And the future cinema would have been
story, the Sentinel, and stuff like that. So it really inspired me to do a piece, and some pieces based on it. You know what I mean? After I'd watched that, I thought, do some music. That's sort of like inspired by this. And we worked on a single. And did a couple of kind of soundscape pieces, apart from like the main piece. We did a couple of short, which was more like soundscape, like based on like the Sentinel, for instance.
Yeah, the Sentinel. I remember the Sentinel,
Yeah. And so, again, I mean, because Kubrick, not only was he kind of involved in the visualization and the conceptual and every detail, and music is also like a fabric that he uses in his film mode.
Cool.
Integrated, like Clockwork Orange, for instance, the Carlos, Wendy Carlos, Walter Carlos was a big influence on us, wasn't it? I mean, we had the album.
Massive.
We had the albums, we had the Turned On Back, we had the Clockwork Orange album, the original soundtracks, everything, I mean, that film, I mean, today, you look at Clockwork Orange now, and it's still brilliant. It's dystopian. It's it's funny as well. It's humorous. It's absurd, and it's serious and savage at the same time as well. You know what I mean?
It's still provocative now.
Absolutely.
When you think about even things like Lolita, massively provocative.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably wouldn't get made now.
Yeah.
At all. But I'm looking back at 2001 and thinking,
yeah, 2000.
I can't imagine a world without that. I can't imagine the future of film after that point without that film being in play. Because I saw it recently on a restored or a remade 70mm.
Yeah.
At the IMAX, actually.
Wow.
And the production design is responsible for just about every science fiction film made afterwards, but also it looks right now, not dated at all.
Yeah.
I mean, none of the Alien films could have happened without that. And they've admitted it. I mean, it just changed the whole thing. Anyway, moving on. Book.
I think Fausto, the opinions of Dr. Fausto Alfred Jerry is one of the great I go back to and reread because it's so deep and so informative for so many ideas. You know what I mean? That it takes rereading and re-looking at it again and again because it's a piece that was so radical. It's out of time. I mean, when he wrote it, there was nobody who was writing anything.
No. It was completely out of
ideas, that he had at that time. We were talking 1880 something.
Oh no, it was completely out of time.
Before all of them, in every sense.
I mean, think about the radicalism of early 20th century music and art. It predated that, but
yes, all the symbolism, everything. He was ahead of it all for sure. But I think the thing with Jerry as well, he looked at sort of religion and stuff as well, like Upanishads, and ancient sort of cultural ideas as well, that are in Faust, as well as science as well. He was looking at scientific things, and he was also devising this idea of like something outside of science, like an outsider idea, of science, which gave a fantastic possibilities, which was kind of pre-science fiction as well. Do you know what I mean? So he was like looking and thinking about things in such a way that we're looking at them now, like in CERN, looking at atomic particle physics acceleration, things like
social future,
non-worlds, and gaps in time and gaps in dimension and so on. So Jai was thinking about all these kind of things, and also about anthropological things, and also about symbolic things before anybody else. So that novel, it is a novel, but it's also like a kind of formula of science, fantastic science as well. I don't know, again, it kind of defines definition in a way.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. Is he was totally an individual maverick. He died when he was extremely young. He didn't make any. He died penniless. You know what I mean? But now his worth, his weight in terms of idea of becoming more apparent.
Of course,
move through time. You know what I mean?
Okay, so visual or conceptual artist?
Visual artist
or conceptual?
Well, I love Bacon. I mean, I've always loved Bacon. For me, he's like a painter's painter in a way. The technique, the images. I mean, I've seen a lot of this. Well, I've been to a lot of exhibitions. I went to a major exhibition in London maybe 20 years ago. When he died, I think it wasn't. They had a really big one. And they had like tons of stuff, loads of everything there. And I was in there, I was in there all day. Right, looking at it and going back and looking at it again. And then, when I came out, I was sort of like, in a different world, when you see them for live, this is another thing with art, I think, and painting is, the actual real, when you see the real painting.
It's totally different.
It's totally different, I
think the classic is Van Gogh. When we saw it together, actually, and that shook me because I'd never seen anything like that.
Sure. I mean, Van Gogh's paintings, when you see them, they have a vibrancy, a light which emits from,
Oh, I can't believe it. I went to Musée d'Orsay about 6 months ago, and fucking hell, Starry Night in there. Oh my God! No, there's no photographic representation.
No photographs
do any justice.
No, absolutely not.
It's like looking into someone's mind.
Yeah. Did you ever go to the Prado?
No, I haven't. No.
The Prado have got the Velasco in there.
Oh yeah,
I've got that one where he's under the canvas and he's looking out.
Yes, yeah, like the 3D-ness of it.
The dog, and in the background, the King Philip of Spain and his wife, right in the background. But that painting, I mean, the scale of that painting is absolutely giant. It's enormous. It's vast. I mean, I don't know how big. It's like maybe 20, 30 foot across. And it's up. They've got a hole. It's in a hole in itself. And when you go in there, there's a huge, distance between you and the painting, but it's all in focus. Wow. And then as you move closer to it, and when you get up close, it's just like these giant, like someone slapped paint on with a great big, like, like the rebels. It's just literally
the water on.
Literally, it's just like big slashes of paint.
Wow.
And they're not even. Sometimes they don't even cover you know, it fades off or something like this, you know. But then as you move out, it totally focuses.
But how could you?
How did he do it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is the thing.
It's a bit like people doing them things that you can see from space, you know.
Yeah.
What? Exactly. Amazing.
You can see that. You can see how that kind of, you know, Velasquez, how he influenced Bacon.
Yeah.
You know the popes and all that stuff. You know, then when you look at the paintings for real, which Bacon obviously did. At some point, he saw them, you know, and saw the kind of rawness.
Have you done any teaching?
Yeah, I did. I did a couple of years when I was in Cornwall.
You're a good explainer of things in a very engaging and passionate way. I think you.
Yes, yeah. I did music sort of technology and video production for a couple of years with higher education students. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Talk to our students on my end.
Yeah, I got my what is it called? Cert Ed, and
did you?
I did a degree in teaching and education.
Yeah, no qualifications.
Yeah, I did 2 years and got that, and I got my degree in teaching and education, basically to teach teachers. I guess, you know, it's like looking at teaching and technique and how, you know.
I didn't realise that. Amazing.
Yeah. I did it. I was there for about 4 years, something like that, and then, you know, the government and its infinite wisdom, economics, withdrew all the funding for such causes because they deemed it like, you know, it didn't lead to anything that doesn't lead to a job, anything that's experiment art is being just slashed and slashed and slashed. You know, money and music all the time. Yeah, that's the first thing to go more and more. But it's crazy.
It's
insane because we need to be experimental. We need things that are beyond economics. Yeah, I mean, we need to be doing things beyond economics. We need to be thinking beyond economics. I mean, and that's the great trap we find ourselves in. You know,
I love that. I think that's a great way. I completely agree. By the way, that's a great way to end this. I think, Addy, I love you, man. As soon as this is down, as soon as the restrictions ease up a bit,
yeah, for sure.
You should come to the studio, and we'll talk about future
plans. Definitely.
In my 3D studio system.
Yeah. Look, pretty great. No, it's easy now for me. I'm here in Westcliff to get into London.
Cool.
It's not a big deal at all. So yeah, we should definitely do it.
And
I'd like to see Glenn as well and Paul.
Oh my God, Glenn sends his love. I told him I was going to be talking to you.
Yeah. I was chatting a little bit on Facebook. We were remembering all that sort of Arthur Craven and Bandit.
Arthur Craven. Oh, I know why. Because I asked him. I couldn't remember where the saxophone was. I knew the saxophone was outside the tent, but whether the arms were inside the tent or outside or whatever. People are going to go, what the fuck are they talking about? What? So, just to end up, it was a tent, which you were inside, is that correct?
Yeah.
Your head poking out the top.
Yeah, and I think we were all in the tent moving around. Well, like, you know,
it was a band inside a tent, basically.
My horse or something.
So the appendages that came out from the tent that held different instruments. Anyway, there's probably a reason why this didn't make it onto top of the box. But anyway, I love finishing our laugh. Love you, man. Let's stay in touch. In the near future, we'll get together and you come up to here and we'll do some stuff.
You know, what happens with the recording and stuff? What you do? Do you edit that?
This? Yeah. No, it's just pretty raw unless there's anything mentions or anything. Pretty up as raw as possible. And I believe in the purity of the art, you know, and the authenticity of the only one who's I just did Sananda Maitreya, you know, Terence Trent D'Arby.
Yeah.
He's not done an interview in the UK for 25 years since I worked with him, more or less. And he's the only one who's kind of demanded to hear it before it goes out, and asked for certain edits because he doesn't want any reference to his past name or identity. Weird. But that's, God bless him. I love him anyway. Yeah. Cool, man. Look.
Will you send me a link or something like this to watch it?
Oh, yeah, don't worry. What I'm thinking of doing, by the way, and this is for the listeners as well, is potentially, I've had an idea. I've already done an interview with Mal from the Cabs and Chris Watson.
Okay.
I can't get in touch with Richard. I want to do Richard as well.
I've seen Richard like about a year ago. Before the lockdown, we went out for a few
drinks stuff. Because I'm have to contact him. He can let me know.
Over the year, he played in London down at the what was it? It was a big show. It was really good actually. Then,
because I just want him. I want to complete the set of all three of them.
Yeah, sure.
In the absence of Richard, I want to. I'm going to
got his phone number. I've got his phone number somewhere.
Okay, if you could send it to me via email or whatever, that'd be great. I'm going to do Easter weekend. I was thinking about doing.
Shall I email him? And tell him you're interested?
Yeah.
You. All right.
That'd be great. I was thinking about doing Mal on the Friday, because I normally put them out on Fridays. Yeah. Mal on the Friday and Chris on Sunday. But now I'm thinking that I might put yours in the middle and have a complete Sheffield weekend. It'd be quite good, wouldn't it? I think it'd be lovely. I'm going to do
Mal I've seen a few times since, over the last couple of years.
Oh, great, What?
Certainly
I love his stuff he's doing, by the way, all that.
Yeah. The guy, Benji, actually, he's got a studio in Cornwall. Me and Tez went over. And it's in the countryside. He's got an old schoolhouse. He's converted it into a studio. And he's got an amazing collection. Incredible synthesizer. A massive amount.
Oh, I forgot to ask, what's your favourite synth, by the way?
Favourite synth? The EMS, for sure. Any EMS. Any of those suitcases and the VCS3s, the AKS.
You want to hear an interesting fact? I've done probably 25 recordings now of these interviews. I've asked everybody what their favourite synth is, and no two people have said the same synth.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, interesting.
Good. On that bombshell. Right, I love you, man. I will see you very soon. And thanks. Yeah, put me in touch with Richard. That'd be great. Cheers, man. Have a good
afternoon. I'll email you, Martyn.
All right, mate. Cheers.
Yeah. Bye.